Mother Nature takes aim at eastern Kentucky, leaving behind damage from the Big Sandy to the Cumberland Valley. Crews had to save 2 people in Breathitt County who found themselves in the river.
Roads are closed and people are saying it's the highest water they've seen in decades in parts of southeastern Kentucky.
Localized flooding issues continue into tonight, and our forecast, it remains soggy. The severe weather alert day continues now at 6.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening again. Today, damage assessment started across the region following the serious weekend flooding. There is also still a flooding threat in a few areas, including Whitley County. The Cumberland River continues to rise there. It's expected to crest sometime this evening, maybe in the next 30 minutes or so. You're looking live at a very swollen Cumberland Falls. We have WYMT's Connor James there, and we'll hear from him in just a few minutes. But let's begin with WYMT Chief Meteorologist Andrew Dockery, who is tracking more threats throughout the week. Andrew?
Steve, it doesn't look like we're going to get a break anytime soon with this pattern. The reason I say that, well, more rain in the forecast. Before we talk about that, let's go to Pine Mountain, where you can see over the past several hours, it has been foggy and absolutely hard to see. Visibility is down. I think tonight that's going to be a big issue we get into, is some dense fog setting up as skies clear, especially to the north. Pinpoint Doppler, it is a clean sweep. We don't have to worry about that. But the big story for us is the rivers we continue to watch. Kentucky River, anywhere from 27 feet is the crest. That's expected to be at 1 a.m. Tuesday. If you're in Heidelberg, that would be in the next hour for tonight. As Steve mentioned, the Cumberland River there, 29.1 feet is the crest height. That's expected within the next hour from the National Weather Service in Jackson. Now, these headlines, dense fog, slight chance of rain, it's possible. But I think the bigger story, Steve, is when you get into the next 7 days, it's going to be a soggy pattern. We'll tell you how much rain we're expecting in those next 7 days coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right. We could certainly use some more time to dry out. Looks like we're not going to get it. Andrew, thank you. In Harlan County, cleanup efforts have begun as officials assess the damage following up to 5 inches of rain there over the weekend. WYMT's Will Puckett is live in Lynch with the latest. Will?
Steve, good evening. As you said, Harlan Countyans are assessing damage today. They're in recovery mode. And starting early on this Monday, officials were out knocking doors looking at people's damages. For the second time, a piece of road popped up in flooded Main Street.
It was just a nasty mess out here.
Maurice Cook lives just 2 houses down from where this happened and calls it a mess.
Well, I got out, come out here on the porch, and all you could see was water running across the road. It flooded the park behind us, and it was just a mess.
Monday, crews were scattered across Harlan County as members of the Kentucky Emergency Management, Harlan and Laurel County Emergency Management, and the Red Cross helped clean up.
It's my hope that we can have damage assessment cleared up by Wednesday and be able to have an approximate estimate on how much damage we have countywide, both public and private numbers. By Thursday.
Harlan County was one of the harder hit areas, and they hope making a thorough list of all the damage will help people get back to their normal lives.
For people to have damage need to report that. There may not end up being any assistance for them, but if we don't know about it, we can't try to get them assistance. So it's really critical that people call our office and report any type of damage that they are or have experienced.
People in Lynch, however, say they are worried this reoccurring theme could give them problems again.
Yeah, because you know it can come up through the street or anywhere, and it flooded people's basements.
But for now, they clean up and look forward to better days. Steve, now you can see the flooding's toll all across Harlan County, but like I said, here in Lynch, it's this scene right behind me where a broken mine shaft sent water running down Main Street that I stand right next to. Now, the only thing separating the side that I stand on and the other side, 3 steel plates. Live in Harlan County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
Will, thank you very much. Today, officials with the Army Corps of Engineers posted an update from Buckhorn Lake. They say the lake is still slowly rising. Earlier, it sat at 809 feet, 27 feet above Summer Pool. Low-lying areas in the confluence and dry hill portions of Leslie County are flooded. Now, people in those areas who might need a boat ferry can call this number, 606-672-3444. Now take a look at this. This is trash collected at one bridge from the flooding in Perry County. Officials with the Conservation District posted that picture on Facebook, calling it frustrating and disgusting. They used it as an opportunity to urge people to help keep area waterways clean. A state of emergency was declared in Perry County due to the damage throughout the county. 2 people were lucky. Rescue crews acted fast today. Officials rushed a boat out to them when they became stuck in high water in the river in Breathitt County. WYMT's Krista Frost is live to continue our team coverage.
Steve, you might still be able to see Highway 1098 behind me. You can see it is flooded over. Now, this is the road that a man and his girlfriend were walking on when they were trying to avoid high water and ended up falling into the North Fork Kentucky River. Now, the Jackson Fire Chief tells me it took about an hour to an hour and a half for anyone to reach the 2 of them. And while they were waiting, they held onto a tree branch to stay above water. Now, as you can imagine, this water is likely near freezing, and the fire chief tells me by the time that they reached the 2 of them, the woman was starting to show signs of hypothermia. They were both taken to a hospital here in Jackson. No word yet on their condition. Live in Breathitt County, Krista Frost, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, scary situation there, Krista. Thank you. Well, Knott County's Judge Executive Zach Weinberg issued a state of emergency today. The Heinemann Settlement School director says while no buildings were damaged on their campus, flooding caused severe land erosion all through campus and nearly took out a supporting base for the iconic pedestrian footbridge. Now on WYMT.com you can find information about how you can help them. Well, some in Knox County say it is the most water they have seen there in decades. Here is some pretty incredible drone video sent to us today from Ben Childers. Flooding closed roads, kept some in their homes, and it's been blamed for water outages across the Cumberland Valley region. You also could see some school buses underwater in one of those scenes. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to people taking it all in.
Some people living just off of Kentucky 11, just outside Barberville, didn't have many places to go on Monday.
They can go all over that hill, but they probably don't want to. No, as far as getting from over there to over here, it's boat and be boat only.
Floodwaters cause rivers and streams to jump their banks all over Knox County, blocking in many, creating a tourist attraction of sorts for others.
I wanted her to see this, and she had never seen anything like this before, and I thought it would help her to have a, when you see it on television, it's one thing and you feel for it, but when you see it for real, you don't forget it.
The flood wall and the floodgate here around Barberville were built after the 1977 flood, and this Cumberland River here got up this time to 37.5 feet. The good news is it would have to get over 40 feet before the floodgates here would have to be closed. Too much water kept some from getting around, yet others were dealing with too little water, drinking water that is, after a water main broke.
Approximately 400 residents without water that we're trying to get water delivered to them.
The Christian Appalachian Project delivered boxes of food and water to state police for troopers to deliver to those in need.
And making sure that these individuals do have food because they can't get out of their homes.
Officials say they did have one water rescue early Monday morning, a resident who needed to get to the hospital but was trapped behind a flooded roadway. In Knox County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now this is some more incredible drone video of Cumberland Falls near the Whitley-McCreary County line. As we said earlier, the Cumberland River is nearing a crest in Whitley County. Earlier today, WYMT's Connor James went around Williamsburg looking at the flooding with Mayor Roddy Harrison. He joins us now live from the falls. Connor?
Steve, as you can see behind me, the water in the Cumberland River is raging due to that rainfall we had, but thankfully for cities in Whitley County, there were no major damages reported, but flooding is still causing a big problem on roadways. Now, officials with the Whitley County Road Department tell me roads have been covered by water throughout the county. One of the areas hit hard is the Briar Creek Park in Williamsburg, and although there is still a lot of flooding, road crews tell me it could have been much worse.
Well, we've been pretty lucky. We ain't had to go around the clock. We just started this morning, and I think we put about 4 of them back today. The road's back, that washed out. So.
Pruitt tells me they still have work to do to make sure Whitley County schools can have school tomorrow, but he's pretty confident in his team. For now, I'm live at Cumberland Falls. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Connor, thank you. Now to Bell County. Crews are hard at work there cleaning up after flooding this weekend. County officials say they are starting to assess the damage there as well. WYMT's Macy Marie is in the newsroom with more. Macy?
Steve, Bell County officials say this flood is the second largest flood on record. Throughout the county, there is still water on roadways and in people's yards and homes. Now that water is starting to go back down in Bell County, the county judge says crews are working to clear roads covered with tree limbs, rocks, and mud. But for some places, the cleanup will take several days.
Assessing the roads that are washed out that may have people that are trapped behind them or that they can't get to their residence, and we're prioritizing those and fixing them first and moving on down the list.
Brock says no one was seriously hurt during the flooding. Several water rescues did take place in Bell County this weekend. Steve, back to you.
All right, Macy, thank you. Now, we talked to officials with the Bell County school system today. Floodwater did end up inside some buildings owned by them. However, all of those buildings besides the middle school locker room were not being used. They have contacted their insurance provider to survey the damage. Letcher County officials are finding even more damage from the flood as reports continue to file in. Judge Executive Jim Ward says a meeting with the Federal Emergency Management Agency is in the works, hoping there will be enough funding to repair leaning bridge supports, broken roads, and sunken culverts. Crews are now working to fix broken pipes, leading part of Barstetta Road to disappear, so conditions will be safer for travelers.
And it's quite devastating. It made this whole road right here is gone underneath of it. It's gone, and it's pretty bad. I supposed to went to work today.
Crews are digging the pipes out for repairs before covering the blacktop in gravel. Officials also say bridge supports will be fixed once FEMA assesses the damage. Later at 6, out of natural disasters always come positive stories. You'll meet a teacher who went the extra mile. But first, a crime that continues to send shockwaves across the region. We'll talk to a family member of one of those killed in a quadruple murder-suicide in Johnson County.
The next 7 days look to be soggy for the mountains. We'll break down just how much rain we're expecting coming up.
Well, we got a little bit of time to dry out today, but unfortunately it doesn't sound it's going to last too long.
Yeah, I wish we could have got some sunshine mixed in too.
Yeah, it was cold.
We were in cold conditions and cloudy skies all day long. You take a look at Pinpoint Doppler and you can see it's not the rain that we continue to watch, but it is a clear sweep across Pinpoint Doppler, and it's the cloud cover that is getting us. In fact, most locations have been under cloudy skies throughout the day today. More sun up to the north, Interstate 64. You picked up on some of that sunshine there in Rowan County. We do have flood warnings still into effect. Some of these go mostly until tomorrow, some out towards Wednesday. You can get the full details on those on our weather app and WYMT.com. Then the flood advisories. These were previous flood warnings. They take into place, and some of these go into the later portions of the week. And with the rain expected in the forecast, I'm not surprised by that. River forecast, we're still watching very closely. Kentucky River right there in Ravenna, also into Heidelberg, 7 o'clock tonight, 1 a.m. Tuesday. Then also Williamsburg, the Cumberland River. You're looking there at until the next hour before we reach the crest. We'll continue to watch those trends overnight. Temperatures, they're in the mid to upper 30s. Some locations near the 40s there in Ashland and Moorhead. But the bigger story setting up look at what we are going to be facing. Wednesday, we look at temperatures in the 60s. We see even the mid to upper 60s as we head into your Thursday forecast with plenty of rain showers. And that's the big story that really takes place Thursday into Friday. Some soaking rain, even maybe a few rumbles of thunder could set up across eastern Kentucky with those mid-40s. And on the backside of that system, a cold air mass brings in the chance for a brief wintry mix on the backside Friday evening into overnight Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that. Just know it is a soggy forecast, and with the new data, we see anywhere from 1 to 4, maybe locally 5 inches across the Commonwealth. So we'll watch where these tracks set up. And your extended forecast shows really not much sunshine, not much clearing. In fact, it's soggy and cloudy, especially for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think Saturday we get some morning rain, but Steve, after that, we look into next week, Sunday and Monday, it's going to go right back to it. So a very wet, spring-like start for the middle of February.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Tonight, for the first time, we are hearing from family after what police call a horrific murder spree in Johnson County. Investigators say Joseph Nickel killed his mother, father, girlfriend, and her mother. They say Nickel then took his own life. Tanner Hesterberg has new information in the case.
This is so special. That's her and her mother right here.
Pictures and memories help Bob Van Hoos cope with overwhelming grief.
It's just unbearable.
He's struggling to figure out why someone would take the lives of his daughter, Lindsay, and ex-wife, Patty.
Patty, she was a good person. She had the best heart ever was. Lindsay was a good little girl. I loved her to death.
Police say Joseph Nickel shot Lindsay and Patty to death Saturday at an apartment in Paintsville.
When you have that kind of loss, it's just so hard.
Those shootings, police say, came right after Nickel opened fire on his parents, Arlene and Wayne Nickel, at this home in the Volga community, killing both of them. Investigators say after Joseph Nickel gunned down his parents, he chased after his 19-year-old son and fired at least one shot at him. But luckily, the young man was able to run away and call for help. And now those who did not survive the rampage are being remembered by loved ones they leave behind.
And my heart goes out to all the people that has to experience anything like this. It's so dreadful and awful.
In Johnson County,
it just devastated me.
Tanner Hesterberg, WYMT Mountain News.
An account to help pay for funeral expenses for the Van Hoos family has been set up at Preston Funeral Home in Paintsville. The family says Lindsay leaves behind 3 children and was about to become a grandmother for the first time. Tomorrow marks the 50th anniversary of Senator Robert Kennedy's historic visit to eastern Kentucky in 1968. He was assassinated a few months later while running for president. His visit to the mountains put the national spotlight on poverty in the region. In our latest web poll, we want to know if you believe poverty is getting worse in eastern Kentucky. You can vote right now on WYMT.com. We'll have the final results Wednesday on First at 4. Next in sports, Kentucky head coach John Calipari is not worried about this Kentucky team. You'll hear why. And we'll have this week's U-Pike Top Play nominees.
This is WYMT Mountain Sports, your home for the Kentucky Wildcats and local high school sports.
3 straight losses for the Kentucky Wildcats is something that Big Blue Nation isn't used to, or even likes for that matter. In fact, this ties the longest losing streak in the Cal era at UK. But Cal is still positive. He still has a lot of faith in this team. The one thing that fans often forget is that these opponents are giving it their best shot against the Wildcats. Regardless, Cal doesn't play for now. He plays for next month.
We're working through all this. And like I said, we play for March. That's what we're playing for. We got to get this thing right. We still got time. Been in this situation a couple different times at Kentucky. And you know, every team we play is giving us their best shot. So when we get this, we'll bust through. But it's getting old right now. And it's getting, each week that goes by, it gets harder and harder to get this thing to where you want it to go.
So Kentucky stays on the road. They play Wednesday on Valentine's Day against number 10 Auburn. Auburn has won 4 of their last 5. Kentucky holds history over the Tigers, though. Cats are 92-18 over Auburn. Tip time set for 9 o'clock. You can watch the game on ESPN2. That time of the week, time to announce this week's U-Pike top plays. And we got some good ones, ladies and gents. Loose ball for Middlesboro-Barberville. Kaylin Mills gets it, dishes it over to Ava Smith for the right side layup. Now we go over to Breathitt County's Jalen Talby in the right corner. The 3, it's good. There's a whistle, so he gets the 4-point play. Leslie County's Haley Mullins with the quick pass to Kelsey Harvey with the tough basket down low against Knox Central. Now to submitted plays. Shelby Valley's Cody Potter puts up a nasty dunk against Belfry. Speaking of Belfry, Isaiah Robley hits the 3 as time expires to beat Paintsville in overtime. Middlesboro's Hannah Warren gets a 3 at the buzzer to send the game into overtime against Pineville. Our game of the week, Hazard's Wade Pelfrey with the long 3-pointer gives the Bulldogs the lead with 19 seconds to go. Noah Beck calling for it on the right wing. It's good. Commodores get the shot to fall with 4 seconds to go. Now this one, final seconds, Wyatt Battle with a 3-pointer to tie up the Pikeville-Pike Central ball game. 2.1 seconds to go. Seth Kahn of Pike Central will now launch the full court pass from the baseline. LJ Missick is there for the lay-in with just 0.7 of a second left. Pikeville wouldn't be able to do anything, and the Hawks win by 2. To vote on the U-Pike top play contenders, go to the sports page on WYMT.com. Click the top 5 plays tab at the top and vote. We will count down the top 5 on Thursday. At 11, we will reveal this week's Mountain Top 10 poll.
There are some good ones this week.
Yes.
Carly, thank you very much. Well, coming up, a local teacher goes the extra mile to check on her kids during the weekend flooding. We have some breaking news tonight out of Pike County. We understand a man was pulled from Fish Trap Lake near Old Railroad Bed Road. That's in the Biggs community. No names being released. Kentucky State Police are at the scene. They are right now just calling this an open death investigation. It's not clear if this is related to the flooding or if the man drowned. And again, we do not know his name. We do have a reporter headed to the scene and hope to have much more tonight at 11 o'clock. Finally, on a much lighter note, a handful of school districts were called off after the weekend flooding, but in Harlan County, one teacher went to social media to check on all her kids. Diana Tipton has 28 students in her classroom and wanted to make sure they were all safe. Through both private groups and public internet surfing, she checked to make sure every last one of her students were okay.
Well, because they're my kids, and teaching doesn't stop when the weekend comes. So, and then, of course, with the flood coming around, I had to make sure that everybody was okay. I assumed and thought they all were, but you never know. I don't really know exactly where everybody lives, so I just want to make sure that everybody was safe and sound.
Diana is happy to report all of her students were safe and accounted for. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I will see you back here at 7 for special Issues and Answers with 90-year-old Eula Hall. The CBS Evening News is next. Good night.